Hello, and welcome to The Experience. So hey guys, just to let you know, this is gonna be a little closer to some feature-length content and what we kind of do when we're planning for some podcast and some storytelling episodes from Staff Sergeant. And we really want to make sure we're taking some extra time to help educate you about the event, encourage you to come next year, and kind of set some expectations for what you'll be able to expect and how to approach it and get the best experience out of it. So with that little caveat being said, back to the show.
Mobile infantry made me what I am today. Would you like to know more?
So today we are talking about an event we recently got to attend that we were blown away in all aspects of, and we'll definitely get into all the details of it. But essentially, this is kind of an after-action report for the Refuge Ruckus event, occurred in 2024, this year, the year of our Lord, 2024. And we were thankful enough to get to attend. Although I had a media badge on, we were there to ruck and be part of the experience, the fellowship, and every amazing bit of it. To give you a little bit of rundown, it's put on by an organization called Kaleb House. They may be linked to one of your favorite citizens of the internet. If you know, you know. So if you don't know, Kaleb House is an organization that is out there trying to do the good work and help people that are victims of human trafficking and restore their lives. So a lot of the money in that industry goes to awareness, like the, hey, I saw a video or a post about this thing. So most of the money is going to the awareness part, and some of it is going to the rescue part, and the most minuscule percentage is going to the actual rehabilitation, restoration of these humans that deserve to be able to live healthy and good lives, right?
Full lives, healthy,
Yeah.
full lives.
Talked about trauma a little bit, and we'll definitely get into that here on the channel. It's pretty hard to work through a lot of that stuff, especially really horrible, life-changing, awful things, especially without some kind of help, right? Doing it on your own entirely, I know you can kind of touch on that a little bit, but
It can become crippling.
yeah, I feel like it's probably safe to say that most people that don't receive that kind of help in their lives are gonna struggle with those scars and that trauma indefinitely. Hopefully that they're able to recover and, you know, maybe find the Father and their faith help strengthen them. But it's very refreshing to know that there's people actually out there whose focus is not to go on the highest mountaintop and shout how good we are and make sure that it's 100% filmed so they can get the pat on the back later. It's not they're not out there for the eyeballs. They're out there helping those kids. That's a little bit about Kaleb House, and now we're kind of gonna do the after action portion of the event. We had a hell of a good time. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I had a blast. First time been to anything big event like that other than like an NRA show I went to one time, and this just amazing experience.
Yeah, it's interesting perspective-wise because you've got a lot of experience in your realm, but on the industry side, I've been trying to get Brian to come to some events with me, but we haven't figured out how to make that happen yet. Compared to a lot of industry events, it was much more personal. It was, obviously we didn't do any pews or noise making, but that's okay. We did a little bit of nighttime Force on Force though.
Yeah,
we'll definitely get into that, but
a little fun happened.
It's not a traditional industry event in that sense, right? Because we're here to connect with people, we're here to talk about our faith in a big way. That is definitely a huge part of this event, and I was very thankful to get to learn and listen to a lot of the amazing speakers and a lot of people we got to meet as far as doing testimonials or just shooting the breeze or calling cadence during the ruck. We got immediately found some bros in that sense. It was amazing. TLDR, it was awesome. You should attend in 2025. Make the time to do something valuable with your PTO. Was kind of what my thought was. Instead of attending a training class and the cost of that, essentially, we went to this event and I feel like I got way more value and skills and knowledge than I would have from taking a rifle class or something like that.
For sure. It's a way better way to spend your time and money.
Don't get me wrong.
Once in a year? I mean, come on.
Exactly. It's a once a year thing. And I feel like you should be training more than once a year to begin with. So for me, it may have kind of shifted where that money's going to get spent. At the end of the day, it's a much, much better overall value for my dollar.
Yeah, I'd agree. Although apparently there was an issue with you finding coffee in the morning at the place we stayed, which was entertaining to me because I don't drink coffee.
If you don't have continental breakfast, The only real amenity you are providing is that coffee pot in the lobby. And for the love of humanity, if it's not filled in the morning and you don't have another one brewing, you suck at your job, do better. So yeah, that was one of my criticisms of where we stayed. Otherwise, the people were amazing. It was a great experience. Part of the bar felt like 10 Forward from Star Trek, so we definitely
absolutely
nerded out a little bit on that.
We'll put that on the Instagram.
Yeah, we definitely will. But it was great to be able to stay in the same venue that a lot of the people we had met at the event were. And it was really centrally located right next to downtown Fort Smith. So we got to kind of explore downtown, had some good times, even found a cigar bar with a decent selection at a decent price, which is, some kinds of a struggle on the road sometimes. We'll talk about things we should have prepared more for here in a minute.
Oh, absolutely. Fort Smith was amazing.
Yep.
Me and the wife are planning on taking a trip just so we can rewalk the same main street we were on, because it was amazing down there.
All the street art, different stuff like that. I'm excited to see what our next trip looks like. And we'll definitely get to how we're going to improve ourselves for next year. So how did we prepare ourselves for this event?
So we were doing twice a week, little road marches on a nature trail here in our local area. We were doing anywhere from 4 miles to 6 miles. The 4 milers were as fast as you could go.
Yep. Patrol
with your
pace.
base weight. Yeah, with your base weight. So it was pretty good. It was pretty good. Checking our diet, making sure we're getting the proper proteins and things like the vegetables and all that crap that none of us like.
We're not gym rats, and fitness is a big part of our journey this year, especially on the channel. So I think part of the preparation is to make sure that physically you have attempted to carry whatever weight in whatever pack that you plan to bring. So met some super cool dudes that were carrying 65 pounds, and some of them had a really good ruck that's going to be able to have load lifters and able to shift the weight a little bit. Good solid waist belts, packs you would want to ruck with, and that was a big part for
Absolutely.
me. I made sure that I have been using the pack that I plan to bring at the ruck the entire time, and I think that worked out. We didn't carry a ton of weight because there was no weapons and ammo, and we were doing camera stuff, so a lot of times it ended up being Brian was running back to the front of the line of our giant column of folks rolling through downtown, and we weren't there to hit the top weight category.
Right. And with a proper ruck, with, like you were saying, with the waist belt and shoulder straps, the ability to shift that weight to your hips, especially if you're going long distance, take that weight off your hips and on your shoulders to kind of spread that wear and tear on your body over a longer distance. It helps.
It really does. And shout out to all the dudes that did extra miles. The 12th C, if you're familiar with him, is another citizen of the Bear Internet. I'm trying to figure out a better word for that. But he is a citizen of the internet and has social media presence. So by all means, go check him out. We'll throw some stuff up here. But I think he was the top contributor to the mileage as a whole. I think he did 15 extra miles or something like that.
Yeah, solid dude.
And that's impressive, for real. Solid dude.
Main March stepped out at about 8:30. He stepped out at about 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah, something like that. He started
burning
super.
It down.
It was
burning
impressive.
It down.
And was getting his basically had stopped to do a little bit of foot maintenance and then got right back at it.
That's another thing you got to understand is taking care of your feet.
Perfect segue, sir. So, what kind of socks were you wearing?
I was wearing darn tough merino wool socks.
Merino wool, you say? Why would you choose that, Brian?
Moisture wicking. I chose it because of the moisture wicking, the less friction, so less chance of a blister, and it's antimicrobial, so your feet don't rot and stink.
In general, socks are a huge piece of the pain solution, at least for me. I did one of our rucks out here in the practice with my Danner boots on and some crappy socks, and I got a deep tissue blister.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
It was great. It's great. But with proper foot gear, you can't just go buy some trash Army surplus boots and think you're going to be okay. Those boots don't break in, they break your feet.
I did that for a long time and got away with it.
They break in your feet.
Getting old now.
So good shoes, good foot gear, good socks. That's
clothing.
Where you have to start.
Yeah, proper clothing, making sure that, if you're going to layer up or layer down, you're able to do that. We definitely were we had a little bit of uniform on, so I did not wear the most breathable pants, but they sure have a lot of pockets. And some of them are not even accessible for the most part, which is a whole other rant. But preparation piece was huge. We trained with the same weight we were going with, which was about 35 pounds, give or take. I kind of attempted to get it close to what I actually use for my bug out bag. So in that sense, I encourage people to kind of pressure test themselves a little bit. We definitely noticed that it seemed like a lot of people were smoked after the ruck, and it may be that they were putting out real hard and they had a lot of weight, or it may be that, you know, they kind of learned a little bit about the whole package of the gear, the weight, and the environment.
I mean, a guy can get out there, you can be in the best shape in the world, but if you have a crap pack and crap shoes, it's going to beat you down in the first mile.
You're still gonna suffer. You can be a PT stud and make it through, no problem, but you will, you're gonna feel a little bit of pain on that one.
So a lot of folks, you know, if you don't know how to research or find out what kind of pack your body needs, because it's based from the hips to the shoulders, they have to be adjustable. You can go, if you have one in your area like REI, and they will fit a rucksack to you, and sometimes they have good sales. I'm not an REI kind of guy.
Nope.
I don't eat granola, but you can go in there and get a decent pack at a decent price, and they will fit it to you. They have weights on hand. They'll fit the pack to you, pack it full of weights, and let you walk around the store for a couple hours.
One of the dudes we met, one of the Army guys that we were talking about, just calling cadence with, and in general, solid human being. Loved this dude. I can't remember his name right now. I'm sorry if you're watching. So he was rocking an Alice pack.
Yes.
And I was like, dog, you are a beast. If nothing else, I have to give you all the credit on that one. Doing it to it.
An Army issue Alice pack will give you a non-service connected disability.
It's not service related.
Right on it. Right on that lower back, dude.
So the next part I want to get into is kind of my expectations that I had set beforehand. In general, this is the first inaugural event, so I think everybody was kind of had a general idea of what was going on and had seen some of the live streams or some of the content that the RM team is putting out or that Bear Guy was putting out. And so for the most part, I had a general idea of what we were going to do, right? We're going to have a fun day of speakers and knowledge transfer, some awesome vendors, and we're going to do some Bible study, and then we're going to rock, right? It seemed fairly straightforward. And as far as events go, it was. The planning was outstanding. I feel like the Kaleb House event team and the lady that is running it did an incredible job as far as the event coordination, communicating stuff that was going on. She even had a media pass for me, which makes my heart happy. Always love some media passes. Will you grab it?
So got you right here.
So I can advertise that I destroyed it the first day and had to tape it together a little bit. So thank you again for this. This is one of my favorite things. I collect them, and we definitely had a good time. Got my Rucker badge, but that one's just, you know, it's a camera nerd thing, I guess. Maybe you get it. As far as the ahead of time portion, what were you expecting?
Well, I kind of walked into it not knowing what to expect.
Yep. So did our elf buddy as well that we brought, our third wheel. We're a tripod, not a third wheel.
Right. A triumvirate. I'm still trying to work that one in, but he won't let me use it. So I didn't really know what to expect. I just knew that we were going to go and there were going to be guest speakers and we were going to do a ruck march. I was not expecting the turnout of vendors, which was absolutely amazing, and they were all selling stuff on hand. It's not like some of the other things I've gone to where nothing's for sale. You can just look but don't touch. Where this one, they were selling their products. That was cool. Met some really amazing guys with some inspiring stories on how they started their own businesses.
Absolutely.
I personally, on a personal level expectation, I was going to be like the outsider, because I don't get around in the circles so much. So I thought I'd be treated like an outsider, kind of just like no conversation.
Ignored, yeah.
Yeah, kind of ignored. But it turns out that all the attendees that came were very honest, very open for the most part, because there's always that small percentage. But I had a great time.
Some people are very into the OPSEC thing, which is cool. I can totally support why you're doing that. I do want to know your name. You can tell me your internet handle if you want to, and maybe we'll kind of have fun with that.
Yeah.
We might. But in all reality, it was great to see how immediately we vibed, and especially you, kind of, like you said, not really sure about the event. You're less of a known quantity. You're not really like as big of a content fan on the Bear Nation side like as I am.
Yeah, like everyone was like, oh, there's that guy who did blah, blah, blah. And I didn't know who any of these people were.
Yeah.
So I just approached them as I don't know who they are. And they absolutely treated me like a normal person. They were a normal person to me. I was a normal person to them. and it went great. And I did see some baptisms that happened.
42,
And
I think, is the total number.
absolutely. And, getting to see that from, my perspective was pretty cool because you don't, not all places welcome strangers in to see baptisms take place in churches.
And not all places like to do them publicly or wherever you can find some water. You know what I mean?
And they were motivated to do it, and it was freaking cold outside in a water trough, and everybody was just in for a penny, in for a pound.
Matt Kelt, your shorts are amazing if you watch this.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Shout out.
I need some
I
of
don't know if
those.
I'm going to put that up on screen, but they were good. So that's an interesting part too, as far as how motivated people were. As far as the baptism, we were really wanting to get some more testimonials from people that got baptized. We talked to a couple people ahead of time that I feel like had a change of heart, which again, it's totally okay. If you don't want to be on camera, we're never going to take advantage of you like we're the paparazzi or something. We're here to help tell stories. So even if you didn't end up talking to us at the end of the day, I was still very happy to be a part of that. Another thing I was amazed about was the vendors. It was incredible to see. It's not a complete list off the top of my head, but Nightfall, Kentuckiana Gun Works, the VFW that was there, Justin Nazarene Leather Co., Moose Run Coffee. Of course, the RM guys were there selling the best damn first aid kits on planet Earth, 100% American made. Sorry, I'm not as good as that one guy on the internet. But either way, it was incredible to see the vendors. I personally will always take any advantage I can get to touch night vision. I will take it. Our buddy on the tripod, the Elf, got to actually experience night vision for his first time.
Yeah, singles, duals, and quads.
Yeah,
all for the first time in a 20-minute period.
I have still not actually ever looked through the quads. We had some when we were filming in a different life, we'll say, and I was in the middle of changing cards and swapping batteries and didn't have time to play around with night vision like everyone else on the team that night.
Yeah, the Nightfall guys, man, the Nightfall guys were killing
Yeah,
it. They were so friendly and so ready to answer any questions that were given. I had my personal night vision.
Yep.
And I was like, hey, will you check this out for me and give me your opinion on the tube? Gave me his honest assessment. It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing experience to meet those guys.
It is incredible to know how much knowledge some people have, especially in the industries like night vision where there's a lot of gatekeeping, we'll say.
Yeah.
And for those dudes to straight up answer every question we had and then show me his amazing night vision camera rig. Oh, dude, shout out to Dave, Cody, Keenan, and the other dudes from Nightfall. I hope
The
we get
secret agent in the cowboy hat.
Yeah, secret agent in the cowboy hat. I hope we get to jive with them a little bit more at some
Yeah,
point.
they were fun.
So in addition to the vendors, day one, the speakers were incredible. I am a huge Viking Preparedness Pastor Joe fan, unabashedly fanboyed hard. He is the OG punk rock pastor, and as a punk rock dude, my whole life, it was amazing. He's a big part of him and TJ having the message that they have about their faith that helped me get to like that last little bit. And we're kind of newer in our walk compared to a lot of people that were there. And not at one point did I feel like we were judged or treated like the other. In the fact that we are not Torah observant, we're Sunday Christian, we're Sunday church kind of people. We are not, I got a ZTOs on because one of my Oklahoma homies gave it to me last year, and it's been a great thing to remind myself when I'm struggling to, a little physical reminder on my person. But I really enjoyed a lot of the speakers talking about the differences in people's opinions on faith, especially during Saturday. So Saturday, we did a midrash, and essentially it is a open Bible study discussion style of thing, and it really ended up being a refreshing event as far as always happy to read the word, and I'm always happy to hear people talk about either how they perceive things or in general their struggles in trying to be more righteous as a whole.
Right, and for me that it's called a midrash.
Yeah.
So for me, I enjoyed that the most because I do not have a strong background of knowledge of the Bible and things like that. And the fact that they put it to the format where it didn't matter if you read this Bible or followed the Torah, it didn't matter. It was an open discussion.
Yep.
Someone would read something, and then if you had a question, you just raised your hand. There was no one marching around reading it to you.
Except for the people with microphones, they were hustling.
Yeah, oh, no. When they were taking the microphones back and forth, boy, they got their steps in, dude. They got their steps in. But I enjoyed that the most. when I was a kid, we Sunday Bible school
Yep.
or weekend Bible vacation stuff. We did that all the time because I'm from the South. South. You know how it is.
That's how it
man.
works, yeah.
We're the buckle of the Bible Belt here in Texas, baby. So, but I was a young man, and then I went into a career field where our focuses were different. So to sit there and listen and be able to follow along. And then someone has a question, raise their hand, they discuss it, you get a better understanding of it, everyone shares their opinions on it. It was a very, the best way I could put it is it was a very, very healthy experience.
Yep.
It was a healthy experience.
And learning as a group is an amazing thing for me when it comes to understanding something that I'm not as well versed as these other people. So Luke, he was one of the speakers, his talk was amazing, and then his points on Saturday were equally amazing. My biggest takeaway on that is, A, don't be afraid to ask questions. If you're in an environment where people treat most questions as stupid, you should probably figure out how to change that.
Right.
And I was about to do the different finger. And so my second point was that everybody starts somewhere. So the idea that you are less valuable because your knowledge base is lower, and that the idea that you can't improve and eventually get there, you got this. You will. It's not a big deal. Don't let that be one of the things that stops you from attending or just in general trying to fellowship with your homies.
Right, and I enjoyed that as well, man. Like, too many people in this world forget where they came from. They forget how they started.
Yep. So one of the special parts of the event that was hard to say, it wasn't one of my favorite parts, but the Ruck rocked. So the Saturday night night vision training bit was incredible. I want to kind of caveat, if we could have done it with all 250 people, I'm sure the Refuge team would have made that happen, but it's just how events like this work, especially when it comes to doing a little bit of an invite-only thing. Obviously, I want to make sure that people don't take it personally. It is what it is. It was to thank people for helping the cause out and that we're really contributing. Obviously,
yeah.
we were all there contributing, but
They went the extra mile.
they went the extra mile, and it was a great thing to be a part of. Again, I have to caveat this because I know somebody out there is going to be mad that they didn't attend. And you know what? I don't know why that happened, and it's none of our business. So I don't know what to tell you, but
Lower your expectations.
yeah, that's probably going to get cut out.
I don't know.
So just the event, just the little bit of training that we did as far as Nightfall being out there as an amazing supporter of this event to basically help make that possible for those people to get to go through the training. Granted, it's a very limited spectrum. It's obviously something that when you do training and you don't have prerequisites and you're not kind of setting the standard before you can get into a class, you get a lot of people with different skills. That's life, right?
Absolutely.
And on the flip side, it's amazing to see when the cadre and the role players and the team are cognizant enough that they are able to cater the training evolution to make sure that the student gets some value out of it.
Yeah, they were absolutely adaptive.
I mean, they were on point. So shout out to the Bobberator. Hope he watches this too. Overall, I think it was really neat to see people get to experience night vision for their first time. Our homie got to wear, he got to experience night vision for the first time, and he got to wear some quads.
Yeah, he went from never seeing night vision to single tubes, dual tubes, and quad tubes in a 20-minute time frame. And
Yeah.
It was amazing to see.
It was freaking great. And honestly, it was the cool scenario for them to put on. For things that are limited size, for you to get to be able to go in, have to A, navigate under night vision, B, use a LAM or a laser aiming module, some sort of setup of that, give commands to role players, put a little bit of that down range, and actually have to render aid in an attackman situation. It was a pretty impressive thing considering all of the constraints that were put onto it.
It was good. It went really well.
Yep.
Some people with zero experience got to understand the stress of doing things under night vision with a firearm, with not friendlies in front of you.
Yep.
And some people were very experienced and blew through it like it was basically there just for a good time.
Shout out to the RM crew and the media team. They were up there even filming after we left.
Yeah.
And they completely crushed it, had some outstanding footage. We're doing this on our shoestring budget, so had a PVS 14 in my phone trying to do the struggle bus. And it worked out okay, but they had some incredible footage, and they were back up at the Ruck the next morning for weigh-in on time. We showed up a little bit later because we slept in a little bit.
20 minutes of sleep is 20 minutes of sleep.
Yeah, that little 20 minutes was nice. So as far as Sunday, I knew we would ruck, and I wasn't really sure as far as how all of it would go, but I knew we were going to bring our own crazy flag and hoist the colors, as it were.
Absolutely.
And so what were you feeling like as far as your expectation for Sunday?
So Sunday, I figured it would just be, just a normal road march.
Kind of like what we do normally, yeah.
Right, but what it turned into is I had a GoPro on my chest, and it's like, hey, I'm going to time lapse everyone go out. And then we started going, and I was like, wait, I have to get everyone going past us as well. So I had to shoot to the front of the line of march to record everyone go by, which, found out I didn't stretch enough. I recommend stretching a lot.
So Dudley, their camera operator, was a literal mobile gun platform. He was riding around on a bike.
Shalom, what are y'all rucking for?
For the father, for some kids, and because it feels good.
That is awesome.
You were awesome.
Trying to be awesome for the Father's kingdom.
Dudley,
using all the talents that he gave me.
You're like a mobile gun platform.
That's it.
We really talked about how to film the ruck part as effectively as possible, but we would have not been able to take part in it had we done that like a normal film crew, hanging out at the back of a rental car, strapped in so I can get some fun mobile shots. We didn't do that. We wanted to be part of the ruck, so we got to talk with some amazing people. Shout out to Bill and the other guys we got to talk to on the ruck march. It was really enjoyable to get to vibe and some good brotherhood a little more. Shout out to Bertrand, who gave us some little goodies on the ruck as well. It's fun seeing the name behind the screen names, or the face behind the screen names. And I think my favorite part of Sunday was you calling cadence, honestly.
Yeah, it was fun.
Queen of battle, follow me, for now singing my free. That's why I joined the infantry.
They were all clean.
I
promise.
They were clean, family appropriate cadences. There was no monkeys jumping up coconut groves.
Nobody was on a Ferris wheel.
No, nothing.
Nobody got on a Ferris wheel.
Nose or his clothes. I guess for me as a dirty citizen, all I ever wanted to be was an 03 or a Leonard Bravo. So getting to watch you guys all vibe so hard and so instantaneously, as soon as the Derby Queen went off, it was just like,
and it's timeless.
What is happening
It's
here?
timeless. One of those guys was in the mid to late 70s, one mid to late 80s, 90s. Some of the young kids.
The dude, the career guy, I'm so sorry I don't forget your name, bro. You're freaking awesome with the Alice pack. But
He was doing his part.
He was totally doing his part.
And have a bunch of veterans from different branches there too.
Yep.
Like, love you, Marine guys.
Yeah, there were some couple good war dogs there. Shout out to our Mandalorian. And overall, the ruck was great. So for the part of the after action, essentially for the what our expectations were, what went well, and then the improvement pieces. I know there's a couple things that I had thought of early on. TJ mentioned one of them on the live stream was name tags. It would have been easier as far as like remembering all these amazing people's names we talked to, blame it on TBIs or whatever we're gonna blame it on, but I know I forgot a few people's names. If I did, I'm sorry. And the name tags piece, I think, would have helped a little bit better on the
more cohesive comfort and communication. It would have been better.
I think it would have been a lot easier as far as trying to get people that wanted to do stuff on camera, testimonials. Speaking of the improvements piece,
I should have had a notepad to take down their names too.
we did. I took all of them down.
I didn't.
There was a couple people that we had talked to that didn't, they initially wanted to be on camera and they weren't. So we kind of wanted to talk about your headspace and timing for a little bit for events like this. Obviously, if you don't want to be on camera, we totally support you. We are not paparazzi. Keep in mind the recording laws in one state, a lot of them are single party, and you're at a public event. So segue into that.
And we will absolutely not put anything on film or on YouTube that will cast someone in a bad light.
We're here to be honest, positive,
it.
and professional. And I feel like we really accomplished that as far as the amazing response that we had for some people. I feel like a couple people we probably made uncomfortable, and if we did, I apologize. That is never the intent. We are, again, here to showcase the amazing work Kaleb House is doing.
Absolutely.
So with that being said, headspace and timing, what are your thoughts?
Headspace and timing. Like when you speak to people, don't be purposely abrasive or toxic. I know it's the social norm right now.
Yeah.
And that's gonna pass. But don't go out of your way to be disrespectful because you might run into the wrong one.
Be polite and be professional. And again, I think a lot of people are not used to being around that sort of crowd. We usually interact in our circles with people we know pretty
bubble.
well. And a lot of times, I know my first industry event, that was a bigger event like that. I'm surrounded with a lot of strangers. It was intimidating at first. Luckily, I was filming guns, so it wasn't as more subtle as filming people, but it can be intimidating being in crowds. I know TJ kind of mentioned this on the live stream too, which was really rewarding to kind of have that same thought. It's okay to be yourself. It's okay to not be used to being around certain things and being uncomfortable, especially when you're around a bunch of strangers. On the flip side, most every one of us that are at that event are all pretty much of the same cloth, and I can guarantee 3 subjects that we all immediately would vibe on and continue to reinforce those 3 subjects the entire time.
Yep.
But with that being said, I really want to encourage people as far as, again, the camera is kind of the awkward talking stick in the sense that if I have the gimbal, people like to talk a lot less.
Oh man, I noticed. So he put a larger lens on his camera, and it was like, foof, like someone turned the lights on in a bad neighborhood.
Our intent is never to make anyone uncomfortable, but at the same time, we were kind of speaking on cell phones earlier. What's every 5 seconds your phone is taking a picture of you?
Every if you were to look at your iPhone under night vision, it's taking pictures all the time. There's cameras everywhere in this world. You cannot escape them.
Everyone has one in their pocket. So
there's cameras on the interstates. There's cameras everywhere. So if you're uncomfortable with cameras, maybe take a step back and let us know if we offend you. You know, like, hey, I don't feel comfortable being on camera.
So if you have a job, and here's the caveat to that, if you have a job where you literally cannot be, you will know, and you will know to tell people. We filmed a lot of classes where literally it's not been an option for me to film certain people or even have faces in them. On the flip side, if you're expecting to not be recorded at an event in which we are trying to raise money and awareness and get the word out for the first year that it has ever existed, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but everyone there is going to be filming.
You're going to be on camera.
A lot of people were filming their personal stuff. Yep. We were trying to do channel content. The RM media team was doing their thing exceptionally well, by the way. And so, honestly, I really don't ever want to push anybody's buttons, but we always want to make sure that we're honest. So, again, if it's something that's a thing you're struggling with, by all means, it's okay. OPSEC away all day. You don't have to tell us your first names. You don't have to be on camera. And for the people that did do those testimonials, we really appreciate you. I really wanted to get a lot more of the testimonials of people that got baptized. So if that's something you're interested in, by all means, check us out and look at the vlog video that we're putting out on the channel, because that will be a little interesting. As far as improvements, I really want to highlight that the Kaleb House event team did an incredible job. For an inaugural event, it was executed properly. It ran smoothly as far as the water and the meals that were catered. Especially, I was very happy to have that chicken sandwich that day.
Oh, man.
And overall, like, there's a lot of first-year events. Might have been to a first-year range day or something this year earlier, but there's a lot of times that things don't go to plan. And I think, nothing survives first contact, right?
Absolutely not. But this event, for it being the first time, it went really smooth.
Yep.
I was very impressed with their logistical ability.
For sure. And they've got some logistics as far as the grandstone side of the house goes. They've done it a couple times, but to be able to put on an event for, 250, 300 people, to be able to have good vendors for that, have a uneventful Ruck March where police were present and were encouraging us and cheering us on, and we were cheering them on back, that is a pretty positive experience overall. I honestly, other than the little bit of stuff we talked about, having a couple weird interactions and always trying to make it positive, honestly, for a first year event, they kicked some major ass.
They did. Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
If you had a final sentence as far as the wrap up, what would you give them?
For over the whole event is to definitely, if you can, go next year.
Yep.
If you can't physically make it, do the virtual Rucker.
Shout out to all the people that were doing it. They couldn't make it. Obviously, everybody's got different circumstances, and if you couldn't make it, cool. If you didn't want to make it, but you wanted a virtual ruck, even more power to you for contributing to the cause. You should be giving money to Kaleb House. If you were able to raise $20, well, that's $20 that is going to help them build that facility. I think that's a pretty good
And
cause.
supply and maintain those people who are there.
It's not cheap to get people with fancy letters next to their name to provide medical care for free.
And next year, if you go, because I'm hoping we go next year. I really want to go next year.
Oh, we're going.
If you look for us, we're either going to have a mobile infantry flag from Starship Troopers or an infantry guide on.
Yeah.
And you want to do some clean cadences. I stress clean cadences. The more the merrier. Come hang out with the Geardos.
Yes, we will be that group of the...
LARPerators,
We'll be the shining autistic weirdos in the background having a good time. And that's what it's all about. Having a good time, supporting a good cause, and being some good people.
Absolutely.
So, if you thought this was valuable, if you gave us your eyeball times and made it to this point, we freaking love you. This is a new endeavor we're embarking on. Call it a great crusade sort of deal.
Welcome to the adventure, man.
Yep. And we want to thank you for being here. If you can do all the YouTube stuff, like, subscribe, share this with your friends, share it with people that are curious about the event, and help promote Kaleb House and the work that they're doing, that would be awesome. And where can they find us, Brian?
You can find us at Spicy Snafu on Instagram. Get on there and share some stuff, talk about some stuff. Let's do it.
Troll us hard. We're cool. Engagement's engagement. Tell us why we suck and how we could do better. Honestly, we're happy to have good feedback. And until next time,
be safe in all you do.
or stay spicy.